Because honestly, you take it out of the freezer to make it, the napkin will also be...
I like hard naps.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 9 of the Content Cube. I'm Brian Woods.
I'm Jake Mosher.
I'm Zach Hohenstein.
And Jake had a joke all lined up.
I did, and it fell through because apparently when Brian in the past said episode 9, he said 9 was going to be bad, but then he misremembered and thought 8 was going to be bad. My whole joke relied on 8 being bad.
Well,
here we are.
Jake, 8 was still bad. Episode 8, still pretty weak.
Yeah.
Not our finest effort.
I blame pop culture.
I phoned it in. I phoned it in last week, guys.
Jake's joke revolved around Sonic and how they're gonna fix him, I guess.
Yeah. You can bully the fuck out of the internet and they say, okay, we'll do it.
Like, the saddest thing here is that I don't think they're gonna fix him that well.
Yeah.
And this just validates a bunch of people, and now all those artists have to go back and remake the entire fucking film.
Yeah, like, I don't know. I don't quite know
really
how.
Fucked up.
Yeah, I don't know how CGI works, so I don't know how much work this is, but it seems like a lot.
You know when, like, you draw something?
Yeah.
It's like that, almost.
All over again, so
Yeah.
just erasing. Yeah.
I mean, like, if they change the structure of his body, it becomes way harder. And I feel like everyone's afraid of his calves more than anything. You know what I mean? So it's like they can't fix that.
It's his face for me.
They're gonna make it 2 eyes. And they're gonna get rid of his fucking baby teeth.
It's the face, it's the teeth, it's the body proportions. He looks too jacked. I don't know. Not jacked, but like too muscular
baby
in general.
Jacked, you know?
Yeah,
it's
baby
like a weird
jacked.
little buff baby.
I feel like they were too concerned with trying to make a hedgehog that wears tennis shoes and runs at the speed of light almost.
750 miles per hour.
Realistic looking. Yeah. That was their goal, to make this completely unfathomable thing realistic looking. And that's just not really... I think that makes people uncomfortable when you've grown up watching him not look like that.
Like, it was so weird coming out of this trailer because, like, they made something the Sonic community didn't want to fuck. Like, it was that bad. Like, this thing was like...
Yeah.
Like...
People like Sonic, apparently. But
I'm not touching that one.
I'm curious as to what the studio was doing when they created the original one. Did they not show it to any fans? Who did they show it to that said, yes, this is the design we like?
There was an interview, and
Jim Carrey.
There was an interview with, like, the dude that, like, designed it. He's like, yeah, we showed it to Sega. They didn't like it, but we talked them down.
Like that...
Nobody liked this thing. And this dude just talked it all the way into the fucking trailer.
I'm so conflicted on how to feel about it because I don't like that the fact that the internet got angry enough and they change it, especially because most likely the people who are getting angry weren't gonna see the movie regardless of how it looks.
Yeah.
So now we're in the situation where if you get angry at people enough, they change it. But then again, it was like objectively bad. Like, no one liked it. No one maybe someone was like, it's tolerable, but no one came out and said, wow, I really like this design. So, I mean, it should benefit the movie in the long run that Sonic doesn't look like a fucking freak.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. We'll see come November if this movie doesn't get delayed.
It might. I hope it gets delayed. To give those artists a break.
Yeah.
You know? Spider-Man trailer also happened. Avengers spoilers right now. Tony's dead. That's what the trailer says. They say Tony's dead.
I mean, they kind of spoiled that in the first trailer.
Yeah. Did they?
They show, what is it? You probably remember better than I do, Zach. Isn't it him looking at the, like, mask, his helmet, and he's like, we lost, I don't know.
No, that never happened. That would have been really on the nose spoiler. I think what people were jumping to the conclusion was... One of them was like, oh, Pepper signed the check, but then I was like, okay, well, Pepper's the CEO anyway.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of it was Happy being like, you're on your own now. That was the line.
When they showed the helmet with, like...
I don't remember them showing a helmet.
I do. Maybe I'm just crazy.
You're mixing up an Endgame trailer with a Far From Home trailer.
Jake's implanted these memories in my mind. So
do you remember that?
I feel like you're gaslighting me.
I'll have to watch the first Far From Home trailer now.
Do you guys think the multiverse is real?
Yes. I don't think it's fake. I saw that on Twitter and I was like...
I think it has to be real.
I don't think this is a Mysterio fake thing. That doesn't make sense.
Samuel L. Jackson's not that dumb.
I know, that's the thing. Like, Samuel L. Jackson, whatever his character's name is not dumb. And, like, a lot of people are like, oh my god, like, I saw a tweet where it's like, man, Endgame like really captured the feeling of like having all the solo series you're reading, like the comics you're reading, just get derailed for like the big crossover events plans. Like, because now everything's like 5 years later, half the world died for quite a bit of time. Like, the fact, like, when I see that trailer and I see a bus in the background, I'm immediately focused on the bus. I'm like, oh, the buses are running? Like,
well, I mean,
everyone's back now.
I'm assuming in the 5 years that people were gone, eventually they reinstituted some type of structure.
They created a society.
Joe Russo was going on dates, man.
He cried a lot.
Right, it's a sad
Everybody
day.
cried apparently on every date. It's just that's how dates went.
Like, I don't know why everyone's happy now. Like, they rebuilt a society.
Is everyone happy now?
Okay.
I'd be in a great mood.
They rebuilt a society to support half the population that existed, and then it instantly doubled. The buses are working.
I think the thought is that, at least, I don't think you can fix society in 5 years. So I don't think there would have been that many drastic fixes when you lose half the pop. I feel like that's too many to... Why are we focusing on this?
I know. Here's the... I'm not going to get caught up on it.
Brian, you're being nitpicky.
I'm not being nitpicky. It's like a big thing that happened.
That's true.
Like they tried to do this thing where it's like, oh, we're not going to reset like in the comics. This mattered, but I'm like, not really, because Peter's on like a fucking like...
Well, it did matter.
It mattered, but like 2 months later, everything's fine.
Well,
weird.
It looks like it's fine, but the people, Brian, are they fine?
It's the third... Whatever.
Wow.
Like I know what you're saying. I don't know. It's weird for me. I'm sure the movie will have like several scenes of people.
I've heard it being addressed as the epilogue to Endgame. Brian.
Yeah, so still in the box set.
It will address
still in the box set.
I saw a picture of the box set and I really thought about it. That thing's gonna be expensive as shit.
Can't wait.
I'm thinking $400.
I'm thinking sold to me. I'm down for it.
Like when I think about the multiverse, I think it's a bad idea. But I don't care, and I'm actually all for it.
Bad take.
I don't think it's a bad idea because I don't think they're going to play that much into it. Like, right. I don't think it's going to have that big of an effect. I think it just exists. It's there
as a way to bring in the X-Men eventually.
I wrote this on my notes. I'm
said, ready.
If the multiverse isn't a lie from Mysterio, Avengers 5 will be a multiversal thing, and that's where the X-Men come from.
Yes.
Like, because like this is like such a big deal. Like, here's why I think it's real is because I know they're gonna want to do some multiverse shit at some point. And if in this movie Nick Fury looks at the camera and says, "Multiverse, that's fucking ridiculous. That's so dumb. They can't do it." You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. The multiverse stuff. There's no way it's fake. That would be like if in Infinity War and we've been building to the Infinity Stones and they were like, "Nah, we just focused the whole trailer on this and it's not about that."
Okay, I feel like it could totally be fake.
Like I hope
it's not.
I can see Mysterio being evil, but I would assume that's probably gonna happen. But I mean, there's no reason to fake the multiverse thing. They could have just had Mysterio show up. Like it doesn't make sense for them to fake the multiverse thing.
Yeah, that'd be quite silly, Brian.
It would get people excited for nothing.
Yeah, I just hope the post-credits scene is Nick Fury walking into a dark room, and then it's Iron Man from another universe, and he says, "Hey." And he's back, baby.
Now, when you say
Robert Downey Jr. is back.
Baby. When you say I hope, Brian, are you saying that you think that will happen, or that's honestly what you would want to happen?
I'm saying the reaction to the film would be better than the film itself, and that's kind of. Can you fucking imagine?
I'd be upset.
That would ruin everything Endgame was for me.
They don't have to Game of Thrones us that hard.
Alternate reality Gamora. No, there's two.
I mean, that's fine. It's not gonna that Gamora's not gonna love Chris Pratt either, so it's really fine. The story, they can throw in as many Gamoras as we want.
I mean, like I thought I didn't care about the Marvel Universe anymore.
And then Endgame did it.
Well, no, because Endgame put the closer on it. I'm like, oh, they can do whatever they want now. Like, do the multiverse thing, like, please. Like, I think it's honestly a bad idea to, like, even, like, okay, so there's a working time machine, and the multiverse exists. And this opens up, like, they can't resist. Like, that's what the comics run into, is that, like, there's all this shit, and they can't fucking resist. They're like, the multiverse is real. Like, what if we do some weird shit? And then it's too much to follow, you know what I mean? And I don't think they can resist.
I don't think they're going to delve all that much into it.
I don't think. Yeah, I mean, Brian, really, I really only look at it as a way to bring the X-Men in, or at least like introduce them.
Yeah, it
somehow.
will be.
Is
how Mysterio gets in. They'll close this. We'll have probably 3 or 4 movies that don't talk really at all about the multiverse. Maybe like a fun Easter egg every once in a while. But then the X-Men will be brought in like the next, not the next.
Tony Stark in the background.
The
Phase
second
5
next
or whatever.
big like event movie. They will be brought in.
Yeah,
but
will it be good if the X-Men come in like this?
Like, okay.
Like if
I don't see them all coming into another dimension and be like, all right, guys, yeah, let's go this way. And like every single mutant just goes into this reality. I just see that as a way for probably someone from this reality probably goes into that one somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, they'll introduce it in a way that's like, yeah, they exist, just not where everyone else is for now.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, there's really no other way to do it unless you want to just keep making a separate universe for X-Men movies.
Yeah.
Which
or
would not be...
Which happens in the comics.
That's kind of what I've heard. I've heard like some people like were like, oh, we could just say that all the X-Men movies that have already existed, instead of rebooting it, just being like, oh, they're in the other universe.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. When you say that they're going to join universes, do you mean like similar cast to what we have now for X-Men?
That's what I've heard.
I don't believe that. I think
that wasn't like an official report. It was just theories.
I think they're going to completely scrap everything they have.
That would probably be what I prefer.
The best. It'd be for the best.
I mean, because the X-Men universe is already too messy with their own time travel and...
You'll see. Dark Phoenix is going to fix it. You'll all see.
New Mutants is really going to be the end game for that X-Men series. Can't wait for that one to wrap it all up.
New Mutants gets pushed back. When's it pushed to?
April.
This movie's
we'll get into that later.
This movie's never coming out. Eternals casting, which is another movie that's
close to. It was rumored, but I think strongly it's like an actual with tangible resources rumor that Richard Madden from Jake's favorite show of all time. What was it called?
Bodyguard, not my favorite show. Number 7 on my list from 2018.
And from what had the potential to be my favorite show of all time, Game of Thrones.
We'll get into that later this episode.
Richard Madden really actually was an awesome Thrones character for a while, so I'm excited about this casting because really all we had up until now was what is she, 50? 50-year-old Angelina Jolie.
Age is not
being specific to age, but it's not really the youthful movement you want for the start of franchise.
I'll be honest, I every time I think of Eternals, it sounds so much like what was the series on ABC?
Inhumans.
It sounds so much like Inhumans that I immediately get upset. I'm like, this movie's gonna suck. But then I think about it and I'm like, I had no reason to want to see Guardians. So I'm sure this will be good.
I mean, Marvel will get the benefit of the doubt from me until they let me down. Because they have not yet. They have not, Brian.
Have you seen Inhumans?
I don't count that. I don't even think the filmmakers count that.
Dude.
Hey, it showed in an IMAX theater.
I really fucking thought Inhumans was going to be the way they brought in the X-Men.
Also,
just call them Inhumans.
Didn't that have Ramsey from Game of Thrones? Iwan Rheon or something like that?
I believe in Immortals or Inhumans. God damn it. They're so all sound the same.
Yeah, I heard that show was not received extraordinarily well.
It was one of the worst reviewed shows in the past 10 years.
That car is
on your end.
Loud.
Watch out.
Fuck up.
That might be the best show we've ever had on the content queue.
Coming for you.
That's on your end. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if in for Phase 5 they just say, remember those Netflix series we did? No, we didn't. We're making a Daredevil movie, rebooted.
Way.
How about they bring in those characters with the multiverse?
Oh,
they won't. But
that's more tangible than them bringing in an X-Men or whatever.
We stopped talking about the trailer a little too soon because I want to say
sorry.
No, you're fine. I like the setup. Not that this is necessarily what's going to happen, but the idea that Spider-Man is kind of filling in for Iron Man in what Iron Man was. That Tony Stark left his legacy in Spider-Man. I like that. I didn't like MJ saying you're Spider-Man.
I mean, how could she not? How could anyone not realize that this kid
Sony magic. Sony cut this trailer.
That
like,
is
no,
true.
Sony
That
cuts
is
these
true.
trailers.
Sony can
They
do.
did this shit in Homecoming too, and Venom. It's
I mean,
like,
how could they not know he's Spider-Man? He's okay.
It still would have been a good moment to see.
You got You have. Let's go through the facts because now you opened up this can of worms for me.
My mind just got. I'm scared. I have a comment to make once you're done.
Okay.
All right, Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Yeah.
Peter Parker's like, I'm friends with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So obviously, no kid is gonna believe him there, but that's with additional evidence.
I know
that is
where
hit
now
number
you're
one.
going.
So that's one.
It's a big one. It's a big one.
He goes to Washington D.C. for a field trip or whatever.
Yeah.
Now that's all the way from New York. Spider-Man saves his classmates when Peter Parker is not with them for no reason.
And now he's in London.
And then they go to London or wherever.
He is the
and
black
he's with
suit
them
now.
there. So that's three things right there. And also, do not hide the fact that Infinity War, he was on the bus with them, and they see a spaceship, and then Peter's off the bus. And every single car behind him sees this kid get off this school bus in a Spider-Man mask and swing away. So that's four things right there.
True.
Hard evidence that Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
I have two comments to make. One quick one about that. It's either definitely what you're saying, or MJ, that line is immediately followed with, I'm kidding.
Well, yeah.
And
I wouldn't be
the
surprised if that's trailer cutting, but honestly, that wouldn't surprise me. But
I don't have an issue with her knowing. It's just
hoping that she is not incredibly stupid. She should know by now that this kid is Spider-Man.
Here we go with my second comment. Brian, you were freaking out about the multiverse, and I thought no, it'll work, it'll be cool.
Yeah.
Then someone said something. You did. You said Sony. And that broke another thing in my mind, which is that this multiverse can be used two ways. One, to keep my interest in the MCU strong, or to completely obliterate the MCU's quality, which is, it is official. The this multiverse is going to be used to bring Tom Holland into the Venom movies. It's guaranteed now. No question asked. He's going to be in those movies.
Okay, no, slow down. The Venom movie
Sony
did take place in San Francisco. Has nothing to do with New York or Spider-Man or anything like that.
He could already be there.
Complete opposite end of the country.
Either way, remember, Tom Holland's going to end up in these Sony movies.
Dude,
I think Marvel would say no.
They don't have a choice. The contract obligations is that they share Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
Wait, really?
Yes. Look it up. I think there's a movie deal that once they've done a certain amount, they are allowed. You guys talk. I will find confirmed facts.
Now I'm gonna make this. I know it's not gonna be the post-credit sequence because it would be dumb. But I'm gonna cut a special thing, much like you cut your thing for Iron Man. It's gonna be the post-credit scene of Far From Home, and it just cuts to black, and it says, "You work with bad people." And Venom's here, baby.
For everyone who doesn't know, Brian Woods does probably what started our friendship last semester. Brian Woods does an impeccable Tom Hardy from Venom impression. It honestly, it gets me every time.
He sounds so fucking weird in that movie, and people are like, "That's classist." Like, you guys, he doesn't sound smart. I'm like, no, like he sounds like he's doing a weird fucking fake accent.
Why would we do that?
You work with bad people.
You work for bad people.
And I'm like, that's kind of. It reminded me of the Dormammu thing.
Doesn't he say bad guys? That's even
bad
more.
Guys,
you work for bad guys.
But you guys thought the art style in Spider-Verse was crazy.
I thought that was awesome.
It was. Just wait till they go live action and show up in Far From Home. We're bringing
Spider-Pig into Far From Home?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
They can do it. The multiverse exists.
Are you ready for me to drop the worst news you've ever heard?
Yeah.
So the report is that
my cat's dead.
The report is that this is from CNBC, so it's not from sketchy nerd website.
Yeah.
That the deal was for 5 films.
Okay.
Civil War, Homecoming, Infinity War, Endgame, and the conclusion, Far From Home, of the 5-year deal. Once the 5-year deal is over, Sony is allowed to incorporate him back into their films. There you go.
And then the rest of the content cube sat in silence, pondering the future of this once great franchise.
I'm just imagining like an Animal Farm thing where like he gets taken away by the fucking they bag Tom Holland to take him.
Sony just keep making the Spider-Verse movies?
Honestly, they should.
I would rather just keep them making that than try and ruin my.
I would say
perfect MCU.
It's not official, but I would assume it depends on how much Disney Marvel is willing to offer Sony. Can they offer them more money
They
than
can
Tom
offer them the world.
They can.
Spider-Man would. Oh, dog.
There was a dog outside the studio, ladies and gentlemen.
The only thing to save us
God damn
from
it.
Tom Holland being in the Sony whatever. The Spider-Man-less extended
Spider-Verse.
Sony universe.
Yo.
I mean, is there one person on Earth who is excited for a Jared Leto Morbius movie?
Wait, what?
Isn't that the next Sony movie? A Jared Leto vampire?
That or Venom 2, I don't know which one's coming.
Venom.
Venom. We should have done that for a movie recap.
Honestly.
Venom.
Is that the rap song?
Not
Yeah.
Eminem's finest effort. Knock, knock, let the devil in.
Don't look it up and play it.
I'm not.
Really, the next line is benevolent as I've ever been.
Knock, knock, let the devil in, malevolent as I've ever been. Head
right.
spin in this medicine. Myself again, Volkswagen tailspin, scribble jam, rap Olympics 97.
Honestly, that part doesn't bother me. It's really just the hook, which is
Venom.
it's a lot of humming.
They ain't gonna know what hit them when they get bit with the venom.
I feel like the last two Eminem albums have been like, I don't care what the critics say.
The hooks are bad, objectively bad on both of the last two albums.
On this game will end, I'm loco, become a symbiote, so...
Oh boy, he does
My
have to
fangs
tie
are
it
in your throat, ho. You're snake bitten with my venom.
Why was this on the album?
That's not where
Isn't
I'm
that
really
weird?
sad.
Isn't that weird?
You said it's just the chorus. No, how about this? I'm the supervillain dad and mom was losing their Marlboros too. You marvel that? Eddie Brock is you and I'm with the suit, so call me
Venom.
I got that adrenaline momentum, Venom.
I feel like his last two albums have been like really terrible. And like they're
I wouldn't call Kamikaze terrible.
okay, not terrible, but not his best work.
Oh well, that's
And
far from his best, but definitely a clear improvement over Revival. Which honestly, when I say
Wasn't that an improvement over Revival, Jake's rendition of Venom?
I'm trying to get some good genius comments right now.
Yeah, what are the interpretations?
No, but I feel like those last two albums, like the motif has been like, I don't fucking care what the critics say, but you made two albums about it.
And
he made a full follow-up album. Well, I feel like he acknowledged it too, because one of the skits on Kamikaze was like his manager being like, so I don't know, making an album about how people didn't like Revival. I mean, what's next? Making an album about the people who didn't like the album about the people who didn't like Revival. And it's like,
no, it's Venom 2. That's his next album.
Because
Eminem sees himself as a supervillain.
Listen,
who's had a negative effect on young people's minds.
I'm a big Eminem defender most of the time.
I just can't anymore.
It gets harder as time goes on.
I mean, he's never gonna slow up. He's ready to snap at any moment, thinking it's time to go get him, Venom.
Since we're pulling the pull-up lyrics game.
Okay, that's all I had to say. It's Spider-Man Homecoming.
He did just have a feature on the Logic song.
Oh,
How
yeah.
was that?
Homicide.
Oh wait, I heard it. I didn't like it.
I mean, have you guys seen that video of that?
We're gonna get ID tagged.
Of that guy who was like making fun of like the really fast rappers when he's like cinnamon women and like that guy.
Cinnamon a winner.
That's kind of what that whole song was.
I did not like.
I thought the Eminem verse was actually better than his past couple albums.
I say, yeah, that song is better than some of the stuff Logic and Eminem has been doing recently. Doesn't say all that much though.
Yeah.
I like. Back to Spider-Man. I like Mysterio's costume design.
I mean,
pretty on point to the.
I almost
comics.
don't want him to be a bad guy, so I can get a Jake Gyllenhaal Mysterio movie.
Straight up.
That's how you reignite my extreme interest in the MCU.
No,
if you tell me there's a Mysterio movie on the works, I'm in.
No, like when I saw the trailer, I'm like, dude, how fucking crazy would it? Because like I feel like they're trying to make us think that the multiverse is fake. Because Mysterio's whole thing is that he lies.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, how crazy would it be if he's not a bad guy?
Well, that
and not,
or at least
lying.
not like a bad guy. He's not a bad people, as Tom Hardy would say.
I'm expecting my MCU interest peaked obviously at Endgame, but I'm still at that peak.
Mine was Ant-Man and the Wasp.
I'm still at that peak, but I'm really excited for Far From Home to see what they do, and having Mysterio actually be good would be a cool surprise.
Okay, I think he's the antagonist, but I feel like he might be redeemable at the end.
I feel like that would be. I mean, does Jake Gyllenhaal seem like the type to like want to jump in a franchise?
No, absolutely not. I don't.
That's why I was almost surprised by his cat. I loved it.
Yeah.
But I thought he was doing the whole like, oh, I'm gonna make artsy movies type thing.
Okay, like it's very obvious. I feel like he's using this to fund his future endeavors. But I feel like he is the antagonist because there's that line where he says, "Sometimes people have to die," and I'm like, that seems that's a weird thing to say.
Yeah, sacrifices must be made. People have to die type thing. That seemed like he is not gonna be the goodest of the good guys at the very least.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's a way for him to be a Spider-Man villain in this universe and also have like an anti-hero himself for his own movies, if that could happen.
That'd be cool. I just don't know if Marvel's in the business of doing that.
They aren't.
Well, I feel like it's time for business to change.
Business will change. They've made too much money and they have no reason to change.
They have a monopoly on the entire industry.
Because I would have loved a Thanos movie at some point.
Disney buys everything. Disney's buying my parents' house. We're getting foreclosed. They have no boundaries.
It's the hole for the multiverse for Venom to come in your house. He's coming in.
Is that who was under my bed? Okay.
No, that was Eminem rapping.
Oh.
Eminem was sitting there waiting for Venom so he could show him his song.
I haven't slept in my house in 9 years. I just stare at the ceiling listening to these bars under my bed.
Chicka 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 Venom.
Do we know what's after Far From Home?
No.
I mean,
yes.
There's an extremely logical 99% guess what the next Marvel movie is. I think it's, May 1st of 2020 is the release date. Probably going to be Black Widow.
Yeah. And then Black Widow, Guardians 3, Black Panther 2, Doctor Strange 2.
I think Guardians 3 is farther down the line.
Yeah, I'm not saying that's the order. Those are
I mean, because James Gunn, and I liked it being pushed back in favor of letting James Gunn still do it because he's making his complete Suicide Squad reboot or whatever. Not going to discuss that today.
Do you want to?
Let's save that for when it's coming out next year.
We see something.
That's a sophomore year for Jake and I Content Cube episode. Because I have nothing to base it off now. I literally have no idea what to think about it because I know literally nothing about it at this point. But yeah, so that's getting pushed back for James Gunn. You also have the obvious Doctor Strange 2, Black Panther 2, the Eternals, obviously. I mean... There are 2 release dates for next year, I think, with Marvel. There's a May one, and then there's a November one. I'm guessing it's Black Widow and Eternals.
They've been shooting for 3 a year, but now that they have Disney Plus, they might be focusing on TV shows a lot.
That's what I've pretty much gathered. That I mean, I think Falcon and Winter Soldier is going to be ready for the Disney Plus premiere.
Yeah, they got to launch with it.
And Loki will too.
Is that movie just going to be Loki in the other timeline with the Tesseract?
It's in the past. So
is that confirmed?
I mean,
that's what the whole thing was. Like, it's him, like, interacting with humans at different point in history, like manipulating history. I don't know. I mean, that's
interesting.
Something new. Obviously.
I'm really excited to see what they do with the TV shows in terms of if they matter.
I mean, I don't care about WandaVision.
That's in the past too, isn't it?
I guess they all are.
I mean, Vision is dead. Vision is still dead.
So fucking dead. They could have brought him back.
I mean, they still can bring him back. He's just got to put him into a dude.
No, the Mind Stone's gone, and he was part Mind Stone.
We can make a Mind Stone thing.
You cannot make a Mind
Stone.
Go
in the multiverse. Go into a multiverse and grab a Mind Stone.
So they won't have a Mind Stone anymore?
Yeah, fuck that timeline. That's the one where Eminem created Venom too. We don't need
Okay, we can't get into Endgame again. I got questions, but I can't do it right
now. Actually, I did see something today about Endgame.
Okay, I wanted to talk about it, and I think
is it the Captain America stuff from the... Yeah, you know what, Brian? Your complaints, they were addressed, and both solutions offered made sense to me.
But...
One makes a lot more sense than the other.
Yes, but they shouldn't have 2 solutions.
It seems like the writers had a different perspective than the directors.
And I like the directors better.
The director's perspective makes much more sense.
Everyone is tweeting. So did you see this?
No, I
Fandom tweeted, like, which theory do you agree with more? Basically, the Russo brothers said the theory that Captain America... Are you ready?
It's not a fucking theory. They wrote the movie.
No, they directed it.
They directed it, and different people wrote it. The director said that, so this is what I mean. The director said that Captain America, when he went back, he created a separate timeline, lived his life with Peggy, and then used a thing to go back into the current timeline to be there.
Assuming Peggy died in that timeline and he didn't have kids, so that skeeted on back to this timeline to get. So
that
shield.
Was that.
That makes the most sense.
Yes,
to
that's
me.
the director's theory.
I mean, like, that's
and the other theory is current timeline by the writers, which I can't explain because it doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make sense.
Well, no, what they said is that, like, the ancient one said that there's only a new timeline when you take out an Infinity Stone.
I don't know.
And since he didn't take out an Infinity Stone when he time traveled back to these timelines, that would mean that an older version of Captain America was living in this universe the whole time in secret, and the one that we've known was visiting old Peggy, and old Peggy was just not telling this version of Captain America that she is already married to a previous version of Captain America.
Fucked his like great niece or something.
Okay, I don't think he fucked her, Brian. The blonde.
Yeah.
Just gave some nice kisses too. That was it.
It was a Tom Brady-esque moment. Look at it that way.
No, but that also doesn't work.
That's what that was.
The ancient one could say it, but the people that invented time travel, Hulk and Iron Man, stated something totally differently.
What made me angry was everyone on Twitter was agreeing with the writers, and I was like, that's the bad take. That's the one that doesn't make sense.
It doesn't work.
Agree with the directors.
The directors one.
You'd think the directors...
Solid
You'd
for
think
me.
the directors would be the ones that were like a little wishy-washy, doesn't make sense, because they didn't write the fucking scenario.
Actually, hold up. If he was doing the time travel thing with the directors, wouldn't he have ended up on the platform? Just as an old man?
He could have gone to the platform 4 hours earlier when no one was there and just walked to the bench.
Fuck me, right?
He could have just walked to the bench.
I never considered it. It's fixed.
Brian can now call Endgame a perfect movie.
Yeah.
His one complaint is
because he could have gone there at any point.
Yeah, you're right.
He could have just been chilling behind the tree and then moved to the bench.
Like, he's in for the theatrics.
He could have been in the water.
He's like, I'm gonna go 3 hours earlier.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
you got me.
Yeah. Maybe he went 2 days earlier, got some ice cream. I don't know. Then just strolled to the bench.
Yeah.
So it all works out.
Yeah. You know what? I'm a big fan. While we're still on Spider-Man, big fan of the black suit. I mean,
I don't like it.
I'm down with different
looks
suits.
Awesome.
I like the different suits.
I like the Iron Spider thing. Big fan of that.
I don't like the fucking Velcro clips on like the black suit.
Yeah.
Like what
not
is
a Velcro?
It? It's
not
not
a big Velcro guy?
It's like the clip. What are they called? Like the clips.
Seat belts.
No, it's like just like clips that like you push on the sides to.
I know what you're talking about. I don't know what those are called.
But like, what are they holding on? Are they holding on the goggles? Like that's not very secure.
I'm assuming they didn't just put random Velcro on them, Brian.
It looks like it. I don't like the black suit. It's fine. I don't love it.
The budget looks really big for this movie.
It looks like Europe is being destroyed.
It looks like there's some really big CG things.
Yeah. Okay. Let's say we live in a cool world where Mysterio is not bad. What is the big sand creature? Who is that?
They're the elementals, is what they're called.
Yeah,
from other dimensions, I guess.
It seems like a dimensional thing.
I mean, I think they're calling... I mean, it's not Hydro Man, which is a character I grew up knowing, like a water guy, but apparently they're calling him Hydro Man. I don't know.
These don't seem sentient. You know what I mean? Like, they don't seem like humans.
I have a prediction.
Yeah?
I think our post-credit scene... Because I think the multiverse will be true. I think we are going to get Kang the Conqueror stepping out of something, and he's going to be the next big bad.
Yeah.
Because his whole thing is time travel, and that gets people excited for the next phase. He's a decently sized villain, kind of cool. So
I'd be cool with that.
I want some hint because I mean we already kind of had our closure with Endgame. I don't need the next movie to like not have anything to get me excited, especially if we have the next movie is going to be a movie of the past with Black Widow.
Yeah.
All right, here. You guys want to hear what they are? I got the definition of what these bad guys are.
Okay.
Give us.
All right.
Define them baddies.
What's the source?
Popsugar.com. I mean, it was the first result when I looked up.
I trust it.
I mean, it looks solid. I mean, can you guys confirm? It looks like it doesn't look like a weird.
They've given me many Disney World lists. Okay. That's not kidding. That's what I've used the website
for. All right. Vindicated by Jake. The elementals are 4 immortal, extra-dimensional humanoids. See, that sounds right so far.
Yeah.
With power over natural forces, Hellfire. Their names are Hellfire, Hydron, Magnum, and Zephyr, each possessing power over fire, water, earth, and air, respectively.
Okay. I'm down for that.
It works to me.
Yeah, that works.
Yeah. According to lore, Brian, big lore guy over here, Brian Woods.
L-O-R-E. Welcome to the lore zone, folks.
Wow. That was great. They ruled a kingdom on Earth before the rise of Atlantis and were banished to another dimension when they tried to conquer Egypt. Now that's interesting with what Jake just brought up, because I'm pretty confident that Kong the Conqueror guy,
Kang
the Conqueror,
not the brand that makes the dog toys.
Okay, Kang the Conqueror apparently was like a pharaoh for a while in his time travels, and
just like Apocalypse.
So it wouldn't surprise me if this guy banished the Eternals or something, and that's their connection that they can end up making. They eventually make their way back to modern Earth, and apparently in the comics frequently lock horns with Captain Marvel's Carol Danvers version of Captain Marvel, which could be another connection.
Side fact, which really isn't anything to do with what we're talking about. If I told you, either of you, how Josh Brolin feels about the MCU, or I guess a better question, how he feels about working with other actors. No. He fucking hates other people. I listened to a podcast with Mark Maron. He recorded, so when he did his stuff, he recorded all his lines in CGI in a basement by himself for Thanos. He was not with the other. Yeah.
I've seen images on set.
Well, that is not what he said. He goes, "It's great. I just go there and I'm by myself and I do all my lines and I don't." He's like, how? Because Mark Maron asked him how it was to hang out. He's like, "I'm not really with them all that much. It's like I'm by myself doing my own things."
I mean, I've never even seen him on the press tours.
Oh yeah, I don't.
At least not for Endgame. He might have been for Infinity War. I don't.
I've seen the behind the scenes shit of him doing the snap, like with Thor. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Well, I'm sure that'd be a hard one to.
Yeah, I'm sure. Like when it's like in Thanos' ship, and the only real human there is No, actually, I have seen deleted scenes where it is just unfinished CG Thanos and Gamora. So he probably was not there for that.
Because I've seen like as a dude in like the ball suit as standing in for what Josh Brolin would have been.
If you're not like if he's not directly touching someone, I'm sure they just get something else.
I saw this funny. He was very, very passionate. He's like, because every person who gets a Mark Maron who's from a superhero movie, it's like all this thing, like, oh, it's fun. They always, everyone in the industry seems to treat still as a bad thing. Yeah. Which is kind of sad. Because
I saw a recent interview. I don't know if it was recent, but I recently saw a thing. Who plays Vision? I don't
Paul
remember.
Bettany?
Paul Bettany. It was an interview he did where basically he was talking to a producer who he said remains nameless, who said, "You're done in this industry. You're never going to get work again. You're done." And then he got really mad and he went outside to go sit on the curb. And then Joss Whedon called and asked if he wanted to be Vision.
Is that actually true?
Yeah, that's what he said.
LOL.
It's really good.
Good.
Okay, final Marvel thing. Have you read like the stuff about them introducing Namor for Black Panther 2?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was just about to bring up Black Panther too.
Because he was name dropped in Endgame.
Well, it wasn't name dropped. They just talked about underwater earthquakes for no fucking reason.
It's kind of name dropped.
Yeah.
Who's that guy?
He's
Black Panther villain.
He's
actually, I think an Avengers villain.
He's like an anti-hero. Like at some point he is good, at some point he is bad.
Which fits the exact type of villain we had in Black Panther 1.
Yes.
Mister, I don't think Marvel does anti-heroes.
I'm not saying that, dude,
we comics... We don't do anti-hero movies.
No movies. Like, literally, there's never been any... but no, I don't... people are saying that's probably a Namor thing, because I don't know why they talked about underwater earthquakes. Like, looking back on that, I'm like, oh, that's kind of weird.
Oh, yeah. That's that. I feel like that's definitely it.
Yeah, that seems like an explicit thing. Like,
I mean, I heard... I haven't read this article recently, but this was...
Namor, he's like Atlantis. He's like Aquaman, but a dick.
Oh, yeah. Let's introduce that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm down to get the MCU even crazier.
Let's go deeper.
Let's get deeper in the lore. The LORE.
Let's not do underwater movies, because they don't look good. Unless dang it, we can't do this transition because we're not going to talk about it.
What?
Avatar 2 going to be a fully underwater movie.
No, we
can't get into it right now.
Fine, you're right. We're at 40 minutes.
Yeah, let's not.
Okay.
I mean, one more thing about Black Panther 2. I think I read this a while ago that Ryan Coogler was like, oh, I would love Donald Glover to be the villain in Black Panther 2. This man is already in the cinematic universe. But you know what? If you give him a different enough look...
No, what if it's the same character?
I don't think that would
Who's he
work.
in the cinematic universe?
He was
in Homecoming.
In Homecoming, remember when Spider-Man interrogated
pretty
that
much
guy?
Hinted at a live-action version of Miles Morales.
All he says is like, oh, I have a nephew. And remember when Spider-Man's like, oh, interrogation mode?
No.
Basically, Spider-Man interrogates a dude.
Let me pull up his name.
Who's Donald Glover.
Is he seen or is it just?
No, he's seen and looks like Donald Glover. So it's not
it looks like Donald Glover because it is Donald Glover.
Oh yeah, I mean, if they want it to be Donald Glover, you can just do it. I mean,
you make him look different enough. I don't care. Make him Donald Glover. That looks cool.
That's not a universe breaking thing for me.
I mean, his character was like an actual character from the comics, though.
Yeah, he was the Prowler. If you guys,
so he was into the Spider-Verse. Yeah. So. I mean, they did set him up as a possible bigger character in the future if they wanted to do that. But also, I've heard nothing about that. It doesn't look like he's involved at all in Far From Home.
Yeah, but also he was kind of a good guy in Homecoming.
Right, but also at the same time, he seems like a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man type villain.
Yeah.
And it seems like Spider-Man's going up the totem pole of power here.
I mean, bitch,
I don't think he's going to be
I don't think.
Bitch, he has been to space, Brian. Yeah, I don't think he's going to be a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man from this movie on. I think he's pretty much going to be like the lead Earth Avenger.
Yeah.
Because when you think about big characters Marvel has left here, Thor is in space.
Mm-hmm.
Captain Marvel is everywhere, apparently.
Yeah.
So who do you have left on Earth? You have Ant-Man and the Wasp. Spider-Man, Scarlet Witch is the most powerful person on Earth.
Yeah.
Left, yeah. And you got Sam Wilson, Captain America, Falcon.
We're talking about our future Avengers? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah. Who's left on Earth? Because the two most powerful people Bucky, are in space.
Black Panther.
And probably cannot come to Earth for like reasons.
And Black Panther.
I mean, Captain Marvel could, but she's got other obligations.
She can stay away.
Black Panther kind of lives on another continent.
Yeah, and he's a king, so he's not busy. Like an Avenger.
He's really
he will be an Avenger.
I mean,
he'll show up for the movie.
He can show up for big universal threats, but I'm just saying
he's busy.
He is a king of a country, so you can't use him all the time. So you have like Spider-Man, like Nick Fury can't call up T'Challa and be like, all right, yeah, like this. I'm saying who is that guy now that Captain America was before?
Yeah, there's no See, this was what I was
just go address threats wherever they.
I was thinking about.
I don't think we need that.
I mean, they don't have anyone lined up to be the new face.
I think Spider-Man is a new
Spider-Man
face.
is. That's why I say I like.
Because he is, but their biggest character, even before the MCU. Spider-Man is the most famous Marvel comics character.
He's the new face of the Sony.
And Tom Holland is like 26. The new face of the Sony universe.
No, from our perspective, yes, he is the biggest. But I mean, in universe, he's like nobody. He didn't really.
I think he is somebody now.
He's somebody now, but like he's like what? 16?
I'm saying Tom Holland, I could see Tom Holland being Spider-Man another 15 years.
Oh, dude, absolutely. They got him young. Like, they could do this forever.
I mean, what is he, 24?
I don't know.
Yeah, he's like 25 in real life.
Unfortunately, like, I mean, you just look at comic books, though, when they do get rid of characters or kill off characters, like, eventually, depending on how long Disney can ride this, whether it's 5, 10, 15, 20 years, they will loop back around and put Captain America in, but, like, we've already had, like, the big characters. There's no one new to introduce to be the face of our franchise. Yeah. They will ride Black Panther and Spider-Man until we bring Iron Man and Cap back in.
How are you going to bring Iron Man?
I don't know.
A new version of Iron Man? I mean, they're not going to reboot the character.
Yeah, it'd be a new version of Iron Man.
I mean, I think it's... I mean, it isn't... I mean, they did pretty much make it seem like his daughter will...
Yeah, in 10 years,
have some type of suit.
10 years we'll get an actress who's decently well-known, who everyone really likes.
No, I think they just get her.
I don't know.
Honestly, I think they would just get the kid. I mean, like, assuming she shows up again in the movies, like...
I don't know.
It would be, like, I think...
I mean,
all I know is Falcon's...
Ant-Man's daughter might end up being someone... I mean, might have like a whole... Everyone's kids are now the
Avengers Jr.
Anthony Mackie ain't pulling anyone in for a movie. Yeah. Like, I have zero interest in watching a Falcon lead as Captain America.
Zero interest. I don't...
And maybe a show will change my mind.
Same with Bucky, dude. I don't like Bucky. Like, when people were talking about, like... him, like, I think Bucky's cool, but like
let the audience know Zach gave Brian a look after that.
He gave me a look too on Falcon.
Okay, here's the thing.
Bucky, a lot of looks.
I like Falcon better than Bucky.
Yeah,
but the thing about Bucky is he's a great character, but he doesn't do anything and he feels nothing.
Yep.
Put it this way, I'm excited for their show. Yeah, I like them together. I'm excited for their show, but yeah, you guys are right. They're not like the big audience.
They have a great dynamic. Like
I'm assuming they'll show up in whatever Avengers movie.
Yeah, they'd be like. Even though I like Ant-Man a lot, they'd be like the equivalent to Ant-Man in like Civil War.
I almost feel like they're lower tier.
Yeah, I can't come up with like...
they didn't have a movie, so yeah, they are lower.
They're like who they were in the last...
I mean, honestly, I will be excited for anything Scott Lang decides to show up in from here on out.
I wish he'd be an official part of it. I like him a lot.
Oh, I think he's there.
I think he'll be there, but he won't ever be. I think like if I had to pitch the next integral like big five, it would be Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Black Panther, Scarlet Witch, and Captain Marvel would be the five. And Hulk maybe.
Scarlet Witch.
Hulk is still there. He's just got a fucked up face.
He would be like 6, and then those would be our
fuckable,
6.
Apparently.
And then like the back tier characters would be Falcon, Falcon as Captain America. I don't even know.
I mean, Hawkeye's still alive too, and he's training. Yeah. Apparently, in the show, he's training someone. I mean, I don't know.
We'll see.
They can do something with Hawkeye's kids.
To be honest, I wouldn't mind letting him have Hawkeye be done with the happy ending he has, but also apparently I'm the minority thinking Hawkeye's cool.
Yeah. I like Hawkeye. I'll be honest.
Honestly, the haircut looked cheesy in the trailers. I'm watching this sword fight, and I'm like, I love everything about this character right now.
No, I think he's cool. I don't want him to ever even be...
I'd see a fucking Hawkeye movie.
I wouldn't.
I would.
I mean, I would.
There's my hot take for the day.
Because I gotta see all of them, but...
Make that your picture for the episode. Make Zach a Hawkeye movie fan.
Jeremy Renner's just boring to me. I'm sorry.
It's because you haven't seen The Hurt Locker.
I guess not. That's true.
That's honestly the movie. I didn't start liking Hawkeye that much until I saw Hurt Locker. I was like, this guy is so badass. And then he had a sword fight, and I'm like, confirmed. He is badass.
I don't know. I'd rather see a movie with... I assume they'll do something with his daughter or sons.
I mean, you got a lot of stuff you can be like, hey, Dad, what were you doing the past 5 years? Like, while we were gone. It's like, killing everyone. Like, everyone.
I killed so many.
I mean, she's going to say, cool, can I join?
Then he's going to have to address his past and his future because his daughter wants to be a superhero because he doesn't want that. But at the same time, he doesn't want to discourage responsibility. That's a movie right there. I'm ready for it.
He's going to have to take down the Bourne Agency with Matt Damon.
Oh, my God. I'm ready for that. Bring Jason Bourne into the MCU.
Do you think they ever do anything like that?
God,
do you think they ever? No, I don't mean Jason.
The last
Bourne.
Jason Bourne movie was not that good.
No, I don't mean Jason Bourne.
I mean, it was fine, but it felt like I'd seen it 3 times before, except Matt Damon had more gray hair this time.
They gave her the best line in any trailer of that year, which is, I don't want to mess it up. Oh my God, it's Jason Bourne.
It's Jesus Christ.
Is it Jesus Christ?
I didn't mess it up. It was only like 5 words.
Jesus Christ, it's Jason Bourne.
I don't mean Jason Bourne specifically, but like, I'm talking like in 7 years, May 31st, 2025, mark it down, folks, when Disney buys Warner Brothers. Do you think that, like...
Harry Potter.
Do you think... Yeah.
No.
The big superhero franchise, Harry Potter. You know, the one that Warner Brothers owns?
Oh, like DC?
Oh,
is that what you're about to say?
Yeah.
Is that what you're about to say?
Yes, I'm talking about
Here's
DC.
the thing.
No, I do not think that will ever happen.
Wait, no. In 20 years from now, if Disney can continue to ride the streak for 20 years...
Justice League vs. the Avengers is the biggest movie of all time.
Like, I think I don't think they'll ever be allowed to own DC. I think that will be stopped.
The court system will not allow it, Brian.
I don't know.
But you cannot own the world.
The courts have failed me so far.
If they did allow
we have a system that checks powers.
They just bought
and Disney
Fox.
is becoming a power.
They just bought Fox.
Disney will have the launch codes within 10 years.
I just want them. Why can't they buy me?
I told you today they bought my house. I have to go home and move after this.
See,
they're turning my subdivision, or they're turning my old stomping grounds into a country club resort. Me and my old friends have to get the gang back together and raise enough money, probably in some type of charity dodgeball game, to save our old town. You've seen it many times before in Disney movies.
Do you know what you should raise that money for? Can I do a transition? Can we transition this?
Yeah.
Can we raise that money to redo Game of Thrones Season 8? No matter how much that hurts to say, you know it's true.
There was a Starbucks cup in that shot, guys. Can we start with that?
Yeah, because it's funny. In a weird way, it's a metaphor for this whole season. Like, they didn't try. Like, it somehow keeps getting worse. And the funny thing is, I was talking to my brother about... Okay, we'll talk about the Starbucks cup, because I know you want to talk about this. Wait. I don't know how they let this happen. Starbucks cup. I we can get this out of the way, and then I can complain about the plot.
Didn't seem intentional, like
obviously
the iPhone in the Tupac movie or whatever.
Yeah.
No,
obviously they Daenerys or some cast member was drinking, set it down, and they just didn't realize it.
No, but like even then, like
in the editing room,
fix it in fucking
you go over every shot in the editing room, like when you're like
how did they not see everything
together? Here's my thing. Like, I think no matter, and this is the same thing, this is going to be a weird relation, but this is my way to relate this. When you're in first grade, they're like, make sure you write your name on your paper, otherwise in third grade, they're going to erase it. And every grade, they tell you, like, when you get to this upper step, things are going to change. It'll be more serious. I think it's the same thing. Like, let's be honest, when you look at your stuff right now, like, you quickly look over it, and I'm sure whoever was the final person was like, oh, this all looks good. Like, I wouldn't have noticed that if I watched that episode 20 times in a row. Like, without pausing it, if I wasn't pausing it and just watching it, it's a cup on a table, and even with the picture, it's really hard to tell that it doesn't fit. Like, I can give them the benefit of the doubt in missing it.
I screamed at my TV the first time going through it. I noticed it. No. I paused it, told my friends, look at that.
Now, what I don't get is how when they were filming, someone didn't, like, when they were moving everything, like, one person didn't be like, oh,
my
this was here, cup. We should mark that.
Whoever's cup it is. It should, if one person notices.
You see that? You see that picture going around? It's Sansa took a picture with little Lyanna and she's holding a Starbucks cup and gosh, Sansa's up to her old stuff again, trying to fuck Daenerys by setting coffee cups near her.
Like, I hate that they're setting up Sansa to be right this whole time.
I have so many. Are we done with Starbucks?
There's only so much we can say about it. I mean, it's reckless. It's their bad.
I did see a GIF, and it was a GIF of two dragons flying over a woman's head. And then a plane. And they said, oh, they forgot this one too. It was like a jetliner in the background.
Okay. On to the disappointment that is Game of Thrones.
What did I just say? What was I talking about? Oh, yeah. Sansa.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sansa the whole time, almost pretty much irrationally, for the first 2 episodes of this season, or even somewhat last season, was like, oh, no Daenerys. We don't want her. She's...
Not necessarily irrationally.
It was irrationally.
Sansa wants power. She has...
But it's always been a we can't trust her thing with her.
Yeah, I mean, her dad was insane, and Sansa hasn't really... If Sansa had more interaction with Dany, I would say, yeah, it's weird, but she's had zero interaction with her, and for her to just come into her town...
Daenerys came and saved Winterfell, right? So Sansa... Simple equation. Sansa, dead without Daenerys. Sansa at the same time, I hate you, Daenerys. You don't belong here. It's like Daenerys is like, okay, I'm still going to stay and save you anyway, and Sansa's being moody about it anyway. So instantly unlikable to me, right? Just because of basic common sense. Just common sense that just flew over Sansa's head the first few episodes to me. But now it seems as though the writers were like, you know what? Let's make Sansa right this whole time. Let's make that lack of common sense benefit her. And like now Daenerys, I would say gradual, but that would be directly lying. Is like being hinted at as like the mad queen now, like she's gonna go crazy. They maybe put a few subtle hints the past 2 seasons, but it cannot help but feel. I mean, what's another word for extremely? What's more than extremely? Like rushed. Whatever's more than extremely rushed.
Hasty.
Into like that's not even more than extremely, but like it's
fucking
rushed. Brian is how like this has felt. I mean, it's like, okay.
You guys were pretty fucking stoked. I'm glad we have it all recorded because you guys were.
Oh, I know. I'm not. I won't deny how excited.
Oh, I know. I just think it's interesting. Like,
there's been little things because last night's episode was probably the worst.
Yep.
In a while, maybe the worst of the series.
Close.
Really?
There's one. I mean, statistically, there is one worse reviewed Game of Thrones episode than this by the Rotten Tomato score, and that one had a rape at the end.
Okay, now
that one.
I want to do a quick insert to why this episode's bad. Because it is inherently, yes, the episode is bad, but it is because this season and where the show is headed after season 7 is bad. They have way too much stuff to be covering in 6 episodes. It is implausible that they could do the things they are doing in an episode. They are having character arcs, character decisions, story decisions that in this season would normally happen over 4 to 5 episodes, maybe even a whole season. And they're doing these in 40 minutes, which is why all of these things...
Wait, they're 40-minute episodes?
No, last night was like the longest episode pretty much.
It was like an hour and 10 minutes, but I'm saying like these plot points are happening within... Like they're not taken from beginning to end. They're happening in 30 minutes. So like you have Dany turning bad. You have Sansa turning against Dany, which has kind of already been happening. You have Jon and Dany fighting. You have the Euron's fleet attacking Dany. They just couldn't see it.
a whole fleet.
They couldn't
snuck
see.
up on
Yep,
him.
they just killed the dragon.
Snuck up on it until one of the arrows hits a dragon.
Because they couldn't see the ships, even though dragons fly way up there. So then you have Dany getting to King's Landing. All these things happen.
A fleet, not a ship. A fleet of ships.
All these things happen in an hour and 10 minutes. When this honestly plot of this episode could have been a half a season of Game of Thrones. Whole Game of Thrones.
This episode, it felt like 2 episodes to me. The first half is all in Winterfell and it takes place all in one night, pretty much. Mm-hmm. The second half of the episode takes place over like 2 weeks, it feels like. Because there's a lot of traveling that, again, happens in between.
Want to know something that I thought of, which is very funny? So we have the whole army that's going to King's Landing, right?
Right.
Dany beat them there.
Well, they took a boat.
Why is she beating the army? Like, that doesn't make sense. Like,
okay, well that doesn't bother me because that's a boat. They took a boat. And they took like 5 people.
Why wouldn't we have the other people?
I know you're from the Midwest.
Because you don't have that many boats.
Those are fast.
Yeah, boats are
They don't have that many boats.
Yeah, but
remember their whole fleet was destroyed in season 7.
Remember they were destroyed in the ocean. How did they get there? All their boats were destroyed.
They have a few boats. They took 3. They only took like 3 boats
and just rode there.
Okay, Jake, okay. Now I got to deal with this one. So hey,
listeners,
their whole plan was.
I need to quickly. Guys, whenever Zach talks about Game of Thrones on this podcast, he looks directly at me as if I have anything to say about it. This has been a running theme, and I'm like, I get it. No, I actually appreciate it, Zach, because it makes me feel involved, and I feel like I'm understanding stuff.
I want to involve you.
No, I like that you're... No, Zach, I genuinely like that you are speaking as if I don't know what's happening, because I'm sure some of our listeners don't know what's happening, and this makes it better. But you do look at me directly the entire time. And it's not weird or anything. I just want the listeners to know that. I think it's important.
Well, Brian, now I've lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry.
I understand what you're saying.
You see, you set me off again.
I understand what you're saying. I get it.
All right.
But like, I'm saying in the whole episode, logistically, a lot of the movement is not making sense.
Oh, well, yeah, it's the show the past 2 seasons that the show doesn't make sense. It actually started in the season 6 finale, which is the best episode of Game of Thrones, in my opinion. That was like the one flaw with it, that there was some questionable travel times in that episode. Now this episode, it felt like 2 different episodes. The first half, probably the most uncomfortable I've ever been watching Game of Thrones. Just a lot of uncomfortable things happening. There's an awkward sex scene between 2 characters that, I mean, I think a lot of fans were like, oh, this should happen. And then I think everyone saw it happen was like, we didn't like that. Like it was kind of weird. Like Jaime and Brienne.
Yeah.
And then there's...
That didn't bother me.
That didn't bother me that it happened, but the scene itself felt weird.
I mean, she's just really tall.
And he's hammered drunk.
Yeah. But they're both... I mean...
It felt weird. Not
a lot of the dialogue.
If you said Jaime and Brienne have sex this season, I'd be like, okay. But if you told me exactly the dialogue and the scene that it happened and what it was like,
Brian,
I would be like,
So these 2 characters have had an ongoing, like, will they, won't they? What prompted them to have sex what prompted them to have sex was 2 things. 1, alcohol. 2, that Jamie's brother says they're playing a drinking game where they, like, say things, and if it's true, you drink. And he goes, you're a virgin. Which is... 1, bad dialogue. 2, poor, like, it's
uncomfortable.
Mean, it's uncomfortable. It's like a lot of things that goes against who Tyrion is as characters. And
I don't know. See, now, if you go back before, he's asked some mean questions in that same type of drinking game before, and he's drunk too, so I'll come some slack there. It's just uncomfortable to watch.
But it doesn't make sense in the context of the conversation they're having. He would not have immediately looked at her and go, you're a virgin. He didn't say it in a fun way. He said it in like I'm going to try to piss you off way. Which was weird.
It did seem weird. Let's see, what other weird things happen? Okay, Gendry Gendry, who was a bastard.
What's a bastard?
What's a bastard means that you are not a true born to like in a married highborn couple.
Okay,
much.
So it's like a bigger deal.
Right. So his dad, your
daddy had a baby with someone else.
Yeah. Okay. His father was the former king of the realm, but his mom was a whore. Okay. Not like an occupation like whore, not like skank. You know, not the Mizzou college definition.
The thing they call you, and the sick whatever age.
Prostitute. Mother was a prostitute. Yeah. So he gets officially becomes Gendry Baratheon by like Daenerys. She's like, oh, I make you a lord now. Like I legitimize you.
Then she looks at Tyrion and goes, I'm clever too.
Right.
Fucking weird.
Right. Pretty on the nose stuff.
Literally, that's what she said.
Because she just wanted Gendry to be loyal to her. It's like, oh.
She
asked the question.
Too.
No, I love the question.
What is her exact wording? She goes, "I have strategy too," or I'm
smart too.
Yeah, literally, it's bad.
All right,
it's bad.
But no, it was. I love the moment where she asked him. She goes, "Does anyone know who's Lord of Storm's End now?" And the whole room of people who should know things, and even Varys, whose job is to know everything, and just look at each other like, Storm's End? That was what's Storm's End? And the Baratheons were one of the main 4 families for the first 3 or 4 seasons. And then, since then, we have no idea who's holding this giant castle, which is like where they their house was. And she finally asked, and everyone, I guess the writers were looking at each other too, like who does who does live there?
That's fucking.
Let's put this character we do know there. And
that's really.
And but weird. What I do love about it is he becomes a lord, and his first move is, I'm gonna go get laid again, and he goes up to Arya.
No. He don't want to get laid again. He wants to marry her.
He wants to get
laid forever.
Yeah, forever
the
laid.
Eternal sex.
He goes in. He goes. You should be celebrating. And she goes, I am. He's like. She's like, so what? He's like, I'm a lord now. Yeah. So he
she's like, cool,
breaks
let me
it down
shoot my arrows, and then he's like, actually, can I marry you? Luckily, she says no. She was a yes. Oh my lord, I might have been down with the show.
See, I liked Arya's response because she wasn't a dick about it. She wasn't like, ew, no. But she was like, she even kissed him, and she was like, that's not me though. She doesn't want to be like. I think it's because he was legitimized that she does not want to be with him anymore. Yeah,
she doesn't want to be tied down. She doesn't want to be a lady. Lady of.
And honestly, I liked it because it tied back to something she said to Ned in season 1 when Ned was like, she was like, oh, can I be a knight one day? And he was like, you'll get married to a lord and have his castle and have his sons and raise your sons to be knights and stuff. And she was all like, no, that's not me. So when that's offered to her now, she still is like, okay, that's not me. So that part. Yeah. There's one positive for the episode. I will concede positives.
Also, Arya and the Hound. I like what they're doing with them. I'm fine with that.
I mean, somehow they're going to find a way into King's Landing, obviously, because we won't show them getting in, because that would mean you would have to write that scene, and they won't do that. But we'll just assume that. Oh, another scene. Most still uncomfortable. Hated it. Bronn showing up.
Not apparently uncomfortable. It's just a bad scene.
Just walked into Winterfell somehow. This cutthroat hired by Cersei somehow just casually walks in and has a scene with the 2 Lannister guys, and it's like, is this King of the North city that lackadaisical in security that you can't, this guy was literally sent there to kill Tyrion
and Jaime,
and just walked in and had a conversation with them with a crossbow pointed at them.
And we'll flash forward something right now. So Cersei sent Bronn to kill Tyrion. The end of the episode, Tyrion is standing in an open field where Cersei could kill him. She just says, nah.
Yeah, they're very trusting of Cersei to play by the rules of war honor here. Because it's like an armistice type thing, where they go forward to treat or whatever. So in the rules of war, technically you're not allowed to hurt anyone in that scenario, right? Yeah. Cersei blew up a church of the people putting her on trial. So she does not really play by
a big war criminal.
The rules of law. Yeah. She does not work that way. And not only is it Tyrion there, it's Daenerys, the queen who is they're opposing Cersei's there. Her dragon is there, who you're running out of dragons, and you just recently learned that these dragons are very mortal. That's what Cersei learned. And she's got all of these arrows pointed at them. You got her General Grey Worm there, pretty much. Pretty much everyone important is there besides Jon Snow. And she could have killed all of them if she wanted to. But I guess at this point she decided at this late in the game to start playing by the rules. And it's a silly scene. And you get a big moment where she executes Missandei, Daenerys' confidant, who Daenerys has had one scene with the past 2 seasons because they decided to shorten everything. So that means cutting out character moments.
That's what the show reason it was so hailed and loved in its first 6 seasons is because it was so slow, because it took its time to build character moments. Almost it was very hard to poke plot holes. It was very hard to poke why wouldn't they do this? Why wouldn't this happen?
Everything was well thought out and fleshed out.
But this season, and I talked to a friend about this, I'm wondering, because season 7 also moves very fast, but I was able to watch that all in a row. So I think that it being paced out is ruining it for me because, for example, in season 7, Arya and Sansa get in this weird fight where it almost seems like Arya wants to kill her. And it makes no sense and it pissed me off. But I immediately watched the next episode and they fixed that.
See, now here's the thing.
Course correct it.
He thinks they fixed that. I hated that. I didn't mind that they had a fight. I thought creepy Arya was cool.
No,
the resolution is what pissed me off. Is because the resolution happens off screen. And inexplicably, like, everything is just forgiven and validated. Like, they're fine now out of nowhere. Like, and then they execute someone for things that this person, Sansa knew this person did all the things he got executed for years already. Like, for 2 seasons. She's executing him for things he did years ago. And she knew the whole time and talked to him about it. And now she's like, I'm going to kill you now. Like, it was just bad writing. Just lazy writing.
It was the idea that she tried to pit the sisters against each other, which is why the fight is the thing that pissed me off, not the resolution. Like, that made no sense. When they started yelling at each other and threatening to kill each other, I was like, this...
Well, Arya was mad that Sansa... Because, honestly, I was mad at Sansa, too. It felt like Sansa was starting to undermine Jon. And Arya has always been more, like, similar to Jon in that way. And so she, like, you would assume that she'd be loyal to Jon. That's why Jon is surprised this season when he gets back and Arya's on Sansa's side, because she's usually loyal to Jon. And so, like, I can see why Arya's suspicious of Sansa's motives. So that the fight didn't really bother me. It probably
to kill Sansa. She wants to kill her.
She was just threatening her.
No, she threatened to kill her.
She was like, I could
threaten to murder her.
It was dark and it seemed a little out of place. But honestly, it pissed me off that the resolution was off screen and it really made no sense to me.
Either way, look, watching that quickly fixed my decision. But, like, this season has not had that benefit. Like, I can't watch them in a row to fix the issues I'm having.
Has there been an episode that you didn't like that had things fixed in it next episode?
No, not yet. But my theory is so this is honestly what is going. If they fix this issue, it will fix my biggest issue I've had with the show and this season is. Bran, originally, I hated him kind of as a meme, as a joke. He's annoying. He's an ugly little dude. I don't like the character development, the plot development. His acting is bad.
Maybe it's his direction. Maybe he's told to be emotionless and hateable and make everyone hate you.
He's definitely directed to be that way. Now, here's where they can redeem it. Is if they choose to not do anything with Bran for the rest of the season, I will, like, this show will go way down in, like, my all-time love shows, whatever. Because his arc and everything he did will almost be completely useless. But if they do something with him where he has had some overarching, I read it was on some review linked it, like this Reddit thread that has much more to do with the book than it does the show. But basically that Bran has been doing some sketchy shit and that he's a much bigger threat than honestly it seems to be. And if he has something to do with this, that'll fix how easy it was to kill the White Walkers, because it will fix episode 3's weird abruptness that Bran was actually up to shit. It will fix all of Bran's weird acting because they had him be this way for a reason. But if they do nothing with Bran, I'm going to be real pissed.
I mean, Bran... Now, he wants something big to happen with Bran. Anytime I see him on screen, I get mad. If they just phased him out now and wheeled his wheelchair in front of a wall...
No.
I can't do him anymore. He is that unbearable to me.
If we don't have Bran with some twist, the show is going to end in the most predictable way possible, and I'm going to be pissed.
The show is already ending in the most predictable.
But it doesn't have to. It
will, though, because you know what it is?
It's bad.
You know what it is? You know why they phoned it in the past 2 years, even though season 7 was not a bad season. It was still, it's probably... Baby. Brian, you ruined my...
I don't think that's why. I think they don't know what to do. I think George R.R. Martin gave
a genius. I'm tired of him not being acknowledged.
George R.R. Martin gave him the lamest outline. Not George R.R. Martin's fault. But he gave him a very loose outline. Unlike they didn't have all this stuff to work off before. All they had was this very loose bullet points.
And I feel like they're probably not even following it exactly. Because some of these decisions, I cannot imagine happening in these books.
It's sad. I don't want to talk about it anymore. Just to make it sad.
These guys... What is it? About 2 years ago now, 3 years ago. Kathleen Kennedy, Disney, back on Disney now. The Lucasfilm lady, she's in charge of that. I was like, okay. And this was announced before the Rian Johnson trilogy, which is still coming too, later. Announced that she wanted the Game of Thrones writers to write a Star Wars trilogy. Around that time, I believe, is when the Game of Thrones writer was like, hey, actually, you know what?
I would love to do that.
Season 7 and 8 of Game of Thrones are going to be 13 episodes total. It was around the same time. And now today, with 2 episodes left in Game of Thrones, Disney announces a trilogy of Star Wars films, likely by the Game of Thrones writers, that would pretty much have to start production in the next year, but probably in about a year, now that they're done with Game of Thrones. Now, if they had fleshed out the story and done another season or made regular length seasons, this would have probably infringed on their timeline for Star Wars. So now
I don't think
they rushed it.
I don't think Star Wars necessarily reflected on the seasons, but I wonder if it did reflect into their decision to do 2 shortened seasons. Like, was that incorporated, do you know, into their decisions to make it a 7-episode season, a 6-episode season, because they wanted it to be done?
I'll put it this way. I can't think of any other reason they'd have for butchering their beautiful show.
Because they should have had, honestly, 9 full 10-episode seasons.
Okay, honestly, here's what I say butchering because I'm mad right now. Season 7 was not...
No.
It had problems that have become more prevalent in 8, but overall, it's still Game of Thrones. It's still very good. It had issues, especially late in the season. It had some timing issues and pacing issues, but
what's funny is
overall, I enjoyed it.
Benioff, is it Weiss, his name?
Yeah, Dave Benioff.
Yeah, and they have written the 2 worst episodes, 3 and 4. Because let's be honest, after 2, I was still pretty happy. Like, 1 was fine, it was setting up things, but episode 2 was pretty good this season.
2 felt like old Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
2 felt honest to God, old Game of Thrones.
Episode 3 and 4 just, like, the more I think about them, the more angry I get. But they were both written by Benioff.
It's funny that you say that, because I remember we both texted each other after 3 and was like, that was cool.
But it was cool. It wasn't good.
Okay, yeah. And then last night, I remember watching, or not last night, 2 nights ago, watching this episode. There are moments where, like, during the episode, I'm like I'll be like, oh, this is kind of uncomfortable first, but like the big moments towards the end, I was like leaning in, like wow, I'm engaged with it, and it wasn't until really after the episode was over, I'm like, once like the thrill of watching these big things happen faded away, you're like, didn't really make sense.
It's an entertaining show. Like, if this hadn't been probably the best show I've ever watched all these past seasons, I wouldn't be critiquing it near as much as I am. But it held itself to such a high standard. It has now dropped that standard, and it's very noticeable, and it sucks.
I mean, again, this is what I've said to people. I still enjoy season 8. Yeah. I still think it's more enjoyable than the majority of TV I've watched. It's just frustrating knowing what it could have been. And I know we've had this discussion before. Yeah. It's not like an original thought here. It's just... Even this past episode, for Game of Thrones standards, bad episode. Mm-hmm. Bad episode. I mean, it's still got moments that other shows can't pull off. I mean, it's still got dragons. I mean, that's still fun to watch.
Even if it got one. It's got a dragon.
I had this episode too. Just one of them went down into the water. I mean, and it had moments that it sets up what could be a cool episode 5.
I'm really interested in what they do.
I mean,
this is it.
Some things seem out of character for the characters, which is frustrating. Is this just bad writing? Because, I mean, maybe if you had more episodes to flesh out these motivations, it would be easier to accept. But right now, it's just kind of like, I feel like the season was written in crayon. You know, like, it just seems the most basic, superficial character, like, plots here.
It's make or break next episode. Because, I mean, you can't have me going into episode 6 saying, oh, make it or break it last episode. Like, next episode
6 is the last episode?
5 and 6. There's 2 left.
What the?
Yeah, so we have one, like, I mean...
They're both 80 minutes. I mean...
We have 5 is going...
2 short movies coming up here to end the show.
Yeah, 5, I'll know in a week whether I hate the show or not.
Okay, well, I'm never going to hate the show. It's just that they're hurting my chances of recommending it.
I guess
they're hurting my chances of recommending it to people in the future. Because it's hard for me to recommend a show knowing... its end isn't satisfactory.
Yeah.
I can't recommend 80 hours. Well, here, so I'm not going to...
I can be like, hey, the first 6 seasons are great, and the next 2 seasons are somewhat enjoyable.
Sam and I, my brother, have talked about this, that I'm curious. A lot of people struggle. A lot of people are really good at sticking the landing, but they struggle to get you to that landing. So I'm hoping George R.R. Martin has created a great ending. We are about to get to that great ending. They just didn't quite know how to get there. And that's my hope, is they can still do that. If they end the show on a phenomenal note, I will, again, like I said, it'll fix my issues with episodes 3 and 4. If they can end the show on a high note, I can be happy.
See, 3 had little I'm going to say this one more time just to really make sure people know how I feel, so I can't be like misquoted here. 3 had some questionable decisions to me, and it had some shock, like sacrificing logic for the sake of shock, and that was frustrating. But overall, I left the episode like I enjoyed it. Like some things frustrate me in the overall arc, but I enjoyed it. I mean, this episode, it was poorly written, like terribly written, and paced, and just terrible. It's like it took the worst qualities of Game of Thrones the past 2 seasons and really pronounced them. Like they've never been more pronounced than this past episode. And what it was, it's a complete setup episode for the last 2 episodes, pretty much. So I can see why they might rush. This was like a rush episode to get up to the big finale they've been planning. So maybe these next 2 episodes help justify. I mean, you could still be like, oh, it should have been more, yeah. But at this point, it's no use in complaining about it. But like Jake was saying, you either stick the landing with these next 2, and that helps me forgive how rushed 4 was, or it's just more of the same, and it's just dog shit.
All right. Listeners, you will not hear their takes because this is the last time we're talking about Game of Thrones.
I'll be tweeting about it.
Yeah. Go check out their Twitters. Jake W. Mosher?
Jake W. Mosher.
What an easy handle to remember. Let's move on to recommendations. Yeah?
I didn't think about these. These are always
I actually got one in my head, but then I forgot about it. What did I
got one.
Okay, you take it away.
Sidus 2 got a big update today, guys.
What is Sidus?
Sidus 2 is a mobile game. It's a rhythm game. It's really good. Has some amazing bops to it.
I like bops.
They're great. They're great, Zach. They put out an update today which further progresses the story that I don't understand. I play it for the music. There's some fucking crazy deep anime lore, some shit. I don't give a shit about it. But that means they added new free songs, and they added a new song pack for a character that I bought for $5. Because this game's fucking awesome. Everyone go check out Sidus 2. Great game.
All right,
love that shit, man.
I'll do my recommendation. It's one that Jake actually had a couple weeks ago, I think. So I'll validate it now that I'm all caught up on it.
So
guys, I shit you not. I caught up on like the 12 or 13, the 13 episodes of Barry that are in existence in a 36-hour span during a school week. So that's how much I couldn't stop watching. Every episode has a great cliffhanger and makes you want to keep watching. But they're not cheap cliffhangers like, oh, Walking Dead, you bastards. It's like, wow, I really want to keep watching. And it's so well written, and Bill Hader is a masterpiece of a person. So he writes and directs some of it and obviously stars in it. So Barry's my recommendation. It's pretty much as perfect as TV can get, I think.
All right. Jake, you got it?
I'll be honest, not really.
Okay.
Let's give life advice. Eat good food. Food makes you feel good.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
I felt targeted by that advice.
It's funny it wasn't targeted.
Health Master Jake telling us how to live our lives.
Not about health. I just mean yummy food. I didn't mean healthy food. Because I really want Noodles & Co. Yeah. And I'm going to go eat it with my brother sometime next week before I leave. And I'm very excited for Noodles & Co.
Y'all remember Wise Guys Pizza? That time we each had some?
It's good. It's a thicky pizza.
It's a thick pizza. They did give me artichokes that one time instead of pepperoni, but I think it was still a net win.
A net win.
All right, folks. Sorry we didn't talk about Annihilation this week. We're pushing that one to next week. This is second to last normal episode of the school year. We'll see you next week. Be good to people. Do things that you enjoy doing. Don't try to be someone you're not. Have a good week.